Hello students, this is your first unit. There are 8 stories in it and the first story is A Cup of Tea. It is written by Katherine Mansfield. Katherine Mansfield, who was born in 1888 on 14 October and at Wellington, New Zealand, died in 9 January in 1923, aged of 34, and Fontainebleau, France. Pen name Katherine Mansfield, nationality New Zealand and British subject. Literary movement modernism, spouse is George Borden, Josh Middleton Murray. Katherine Mansfield, this is the short introduction of Katherine. Beauchamp Murray, 14 October 1888. This is the birth date and till 9 January 1923 was a prominent modernist writer of short fiction who was born and brought up in a colonial New Zealand and wrote under the pen name of Katherine Mansfield. When she was 19, Mansfield left New Zealand and settled in the United Kingdom, where she became a friend of modernist writers such as D.H. Lawrence, Virginia Woolf, etc. In 1917, she was diagnosed with extrapulmonary tuberculosis. This is a dangerous disease which led to her death at the age of 34. And that's now the story, A Cup of Tea. It is a 1922 short story by Katherine Mansfield. It first published in Storyteller in May 1922. It is later appeared in The Dove's Nest and other stories. This is a story about a husband and a wife. The wife is very emotional and the husband is very practical. Now, the summary of the story. Rosemary Fell, who was a young, wealthy woman, goes shopping at a florist and in the antique shop on Curzon Street. This is a very famous street where the antique pieces of things, yeah, antique statues, antique things can be bought there. Before going to the car, Rosemary is approached by Miss Smith, a poor girl, who asks for enough money to buy tea. Instead, Rosemary drives the girl to her plush house. Rosemary became very sad that the poor girl, Mrs. Smith, doesn't have the money to take a cup of tea. So she became very emotional and took to her house to give her a cup of tea or give her warmth in the time of winter or the time of snow. So this is a simple starting of the story that Rosemary Fell is a very young and wealthy woman and have a husband, a very honesty husband, and then he took a girl to her house because she felt very emotional touch with her and took her home. At the Fell's house, Mrs. Smith eats her fill because Rosemary gives her a cup of tea and too much to eat. And she then bring to tell Rosemary of her life when Rosemary's husband Philip came in, although initially surprised. He became surprised because a new person is there in his home. Philip recovers and asks to speak to Rosemary alone. He wants to talk to her alone. In the library, Philip conveys his disapproval. Now, Rosemary resists dismissing Mrs. Smith. Philip tries another, more successful tactic. He used a tact then, and the tact is the jealousy. He plays to Rosemary's jealousy by telling her how pretty Mrs. Smith is. This is a very big thing for the girls or for the women because they cannot control when you praise someone other at the presence of her. Rosemary jealousy by telling her how pretty Mrs. Smith is. Rosemary retrieves 3 5-pound note and presumably send the girl away. This is the end of the story, and it is clearly shows about the jealousy of women. Rosemary, who felt very attached with the girl Mrs. Smith, now make her go away from the house and give her a 5 pound notes and tell her goodbye. Mr. Smith, who used a tact in this story, is very notable because he know that his wife is very jealous to the other woman's beauty. So he said that Mrs. Smith is very beautiful and very charming, and this make angry to Mrs. Rosemary. Now we can see that the jealousy is the center point of this story. This dismissal of a far cry for Rosemary's first vow of be frightful, nice to her, and to look after her. Later, Rosemary goes to her husband and informs him, Mrs. Smith won't dine with us tonight. She first asks about the antique box from the morning, but then arrives at her true concern. She quickly asks, am I pretty? She is very insecure. She feels very insecure when her husband prays to other women. She want to ask about the antique box. She want to buy she want to buy that box at the morning, but she want to ask her husband for that box. But then arrives at the true concern, she quickly asks, am I pretty or not? Means he feels jealousy to her husband. To the girl, Mrs. Smith, about her husband. Her husband praised her later. Uh, yes. Then Rosemary goes to her husband and informs him Mrs. Smith won't dine with us tonight. While in earlier time, she said that the Mrs. Smith will dine with us tonight, and I will care of her. All these things, but now he make excuses, and go away to make the arrangement to go away of her. She is feeling insecure because her husband is praising to another woman. Materialism. Rosemary decides to help the poor girl as she feels inspired by stories by Dostoevsky, who was a great storyteller, that she has been reading. The text is written in the modernist mode without a set structure and with many shifts in the narrative, and it was adopted into the television series Katha Sagar in 1986, directed by Sham Benegal. This is a very good story, and Sham Benegal made a great serial on this story, A Cup of Tea. The center theme of this story is the jealousy of women. Now, look at the second story, which is written by R.K. Narayan. And the story is The Day of Astrologer. As we know, R.K. Narayan is one of the trio in India. R.K. Narayan, Raja Rao, and Mulk Raj Anand. These trio are the best novelists in India before the independence. R.K. Narayan, who belonged to the Madras state and who belonged to Mysore, composed many stories, many novels, and many uh, biographies and autobiographies. He composed, he created an imaginary character in his mind, and that is a village, Malgudi. In most of his books, the story is go around to that village, and the village is the Malgudi. It is a fictional village represent the Mysore. R.K. Narayan, who was born in 1906 on 10 October, and Madras State, British India, now Chennai, Tamil Nadu, and died in 13 May 2001, aged 94, at Chennai. Occupation is a writer, nationality Indian, and he is known as the most wonderful and most famous story writer in English in India. This story, Astrologer, is a story about an astrologer. And now look at a glance at the composition of R.K. Narayan, the writings of R.K. Narayan, the works of R.K. Narayan. First of all, the English teacher, and then the missing male, R.K. Narayan waiting for the Mahatma. It is based on the background as the background of Gandhian work and the waiting for the Gandhi. Mr. Sampath, the printer of Malgudi, financial expert and especially the one of many of the most important books. One, the guide is the most important work of R.K. Narayan. Guide is a story about a guide who is Raju and about a girl, Rosie, who want to be a dancer, but her husband him, doesn't allow her. And the guide make some work for her and then made her the national celebrity in this novel. And but he made some forgery and go to jail. And then there he reformed himself and became a Mahatma and fast against the god for the rain. And at last, he died for the rain, for the good of the people who belong to that area, who are waiting, who are waiting the rain. Malgudi Days. It is a collection of stories, and there are many stories in this book. Malgudi is a fictional village which is composed by, which was imagined by R.K. Narayan, and most of his books are go around as a background around this village. Malgudi, there is a railway station near the village, and there are many special characters in that village. And R.K. Narayan express or tell the story of everyone, as the story of astrologer, as the story of English teacher, about the tiger in Malgudi, about the school, about the Swami who was a child in that village, about the post office, about the statue, about the square. Everything was expressed by R.K. Narayan that we feel that it is a real village. The Vendor of Sweet. It is another good book, a good novel, which shows the contrast between the father and the son. The father represents the old values and the son represents the modern values who return from the America and want to make a business, all these things. R.K. Narayan, who was born in 10 October 1906 and died in 13 May 2001, full name Rashipuram Krishnaswamy Iyer Narayan Swamy. Rashipuram is the name of that village where he was born. Krishnaswamy Iyer is the name of his father, and Narayan Swamy is his own name. In South, all the persons use first of all the name of the village, then the name of father, and at last their own name. So it is said that if we write from the last to the first, it became the address of the person who belonged to South, as Narayan Swamy, son of Krishna Swamy Iyer at Rashipuram, was an Indian writer best known for his work set of the fictional South Indian town of Malgudi, and he is one of three leading figures of early Indian literature in English, alongside Mulkraj Anand and Raja Rao. As I have said, these three are called the trio of novelists, and is credited with beginning the genre of the rest of the world. Narayan broke through while the help of mentor and friend Graham Greene. Graham Greene is the mentor and the friend of R.K. Narayan, who was instrumental in getting publishers for Narayan's first four books, including the semi-autobiographical trilogy of Swami and Friends, The Bachelor of Arts, and The English Teacher. Narayan's work also include The Financial Expert, hailed as one of the most original work of 1951. The Sahitya Academy Award winner, The Guide, which was adopted for film and for Broadway. On the novel, The Guide, there was a film by Devanand, and it got a great success at that time. Representing for the most Narayan's story of the fictional town of Malgudi, first introduced in Swami and Friends, his narratives highlights social context and provide a feel for his characters through everyday life. He has been compared to William Faulkner, who also created a fictional town that stood for reality, brought out the humor and energy of ordinary life, and displayed compassionate humanism in his writing. Narayan's short story writing style has been compared to the Guy de Maupassant, as they both have an ability to compress the narrative without losing out of on element of the story. Narayan has also come in for criticism for being too simple in his prose and diction. There are some characters and his writing career that spanned over 60 years. Narayan received many awards and honors. These include the A.C. Benson Medal for the Royal Society of Literature and the Padma Vibhushan, India's second highest civilian awards, and he was also nominated to Rajya Sabha, the upper house of India's parliament. Now the story, An Astrologer's Day. In An Astrologer's Day, Narayan, with his very sense of humor, tells of a day in the life of a wayside astrologer. Astrologer who saw the palm of other person and tell them what will be their future. But the event take a dramatic turn when the astrologer is forced to read the palm of a man he tried to kill years ago. So this is a very humorous end of this story, and Narayan, Dr. R.K.NARAYAN became very successful in his attempt. Now the third story, which is written by W.H. MAUGHAM. And W.H. MAUGHAM was born in 25th January 1874 and UK Embassy, Paris, France. Died in 6th December 1965, Nice, France. Occupation. He was a playwright, novelist, short story writer. All these are written by him. Notable works of Human Bondage, the latter, the Razor's Edge, and spouse is Sherry Welcome. William Somrest Maugham, 25th January 1874, this is the birth date, and 16 December 1965 is the death day of her, was a British playwright and novelist and short story writer. He was among the most popular writer of his era and reputedly the highest paid author during the 1930s. After losing both his parents by the age of 10, Maugham was raised by a paternal uncle who was emotionally cold. Not wanting to become a lawyer like other men in his family, Maugham eventually trained and qualified as a medical doctor or physician. The first run of his first novel, Lisa of Lambeth, in 1897, sold out so rapidly that Maugham gave up medicine to write full time. During the First World War, he served with the Red Cross and in the ambulance corps before being recruited in 1916 into the British Secret Intelligence Service, SIS, for which he worked in Switzerland and Russia before the October Revolution in 1917. During and after the war, he traveled in India and Southwest Asia. All of these experiences were reflected in later short stories and novels. And the name of the story is A Friend in Need. A Friend in Need is a cool and unemotional study of an unscrupulous man, as it often happens in Maugham's story. The story takes an ironic turn. Character of the man is revealed. Now, the last story, The Silver Lining, and it is composed by Chaman Nahil. Chaman Nahil, who was born in 2 August 1927, Sialkot, India, and died in 29 November 2013. And the main occupation of Chaman Nahil is writer, and his spouse is Sharshana Rani, and he got the Sahitya Academy Award for Literature in 1977. Federation of India Publisher Award in 1977, Federation of India Publishers Award in 1973. These two awards are taken on by Chaman Nahil. Chaman Nahil, who known as the Chaman Nahil Azadi, is an Indian-born writer of English literature. He is widely considered as one of the best exponent of Indian writing in English and is known for his work Azadi, which is set as India's independence and her partition. He is also known for his depiction of Mahatma Gandhi as a complex character with human failings. Chaman Nahel was born in Sialkot in pre-independence India. Now Sialkot is in Pakistan and a province in the present day Pakistan. In 1927, after having his school education locally, he did his masters in English at University of Delhi in 1948. He continued his education as a British Council scholar at University of Nottingham in 1959 to 61 and obtained a PhD in English in 1961 during his education, and he worked as a lecturer during 1949 to 1962. In 1962, he joined Rajasthan University, Jaipur as a reader in English. There are four, uh, there are four posts as a lecturer at a university. First of all, assistant professor, then the reader, then associate professor and professor. And he joined as a reader in Rajasthan University 1962. The next year, he moved to New Delhi as professor of English at the University of Delhi. And he was a Fulbright Fellow of Princeton University, New Jersey, and served at various universities in the United States, Malaysia, Japan, Singapore, Canada, North Korea as a visiting lecturer. He was also a fellow of Cambridge College in 1999 and worked as a columnist for the Indian Express. He wrote many columns for the Indian Express, writing a column talking about books from 1966 to 1973. Aged 86, he died a natural death on 20 November 2013. Now, the story Silver Lining. The silver lining describes the agony of the present of a handicapped child and how a guest who is similar handicapped bring joy into the child's life. Because handicapped is not a curse. A handicapped person may be said the spatial authorized can be said spatial ability, have many spatial ability, and the handicapped person bring joys into the child's life and told him that disability is not a curse, it is a blessing, because a disabled person have a special quality, special skill in another part of the society. As a crippled person may be a good orator, may be a good singer, or maybe a good writer. So this is the message from this story. So we have read the four stories, and the remaining four stories will be taught in the next class. And I want to tell you that there is another novel in your second unit is Pride and Prejudice, which is written by Jane Austen. And this is a very great novel written by her. And there is a film was made based on this novel, which has the same title, Pride and Prejudice, and another movie, Bride and Prejudice, which was made in 2006 or 2009. Both both the movies got a great success because it has a great plot in this story, Pride and Prejudice. So see you in next class. Till then, have a good day.